about wanting to be a marine biologist when he grew up.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That's actually what I wanted to be when I grew up.
Wait, you guys similar paths?
I guess so.
Really?
Look at us now.
Ryan, you can't even swim. How are you gonna be a marine biologist? Right? Is that the number one requirement?
I think if you have flippers, you can get them.
Could you become a marine biologist if you can't swim? Does anyone know that?
I don't know if that's a qualification. Maybe we can ask her.
It has to be a qualification. Maybe. Ryan, can we get some on in a little bit that can help us with that? No, maybe not marine. Who knows? We're live. We're live. Oh, hey mom. Oh, I'm sorry, Ryan. The thing in the thing. Oh. Yeah. Hurry up. Chop. It's a trick candle, Ryan. And we're live. Welcome to Quarantine.
With the Chrises.
I'm your host, Chris.
I'm your host, Chris.
And we have a very, 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 very times 59 special edition for you folks today. Wow. It is nighttime here in the quarantine.
Nighttime. This is our first nighttime episode, Chris. After dark.
After dark. Nighttime is the right time. Thank you for joining us today in Quarantine Land. We're talking about a lot of things, but special PSA would probably work best.
Yes, please be responsible, wear a mask, and practice social distancing, Chris.
I think what he's trying to say is please wear a mask and please stay inside if you can. If you can't, 6 feet away is about, just go where you can't see people. Then that'll probably work out better.
That worked out. That's where I was. It worked out quite well, Chris.
Right, so you go to a place where there's no other people, yes. Thus you're social distancing by proxy.
Exactly.
Makes total sense.
Just going in the wild, Chris.
In the wild, right?
Yes, go to the wild.
Thank you again for joining Quarantine with the Chrises. We do have t-shirts that are tie-dye. Ryan, unfortunately, forgot to bring them out. But go in our bio. If you like things that are tie-dye and you like logos of our faces, it's the perfect holiday gift, whether it's for Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, or my birthday, which is coming up. Only a few shopping days left.
Oh, wow. Speaking of birthdays, Chris, it was just my birthday last week.
Oh!
And this was, got this little thing from me.
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Well, I just want to shout out, this is our sponsor of the day. It's called the Comfy.
The Comfy?
The Comfy is like the most comfortable thing. You can I just took the most wonderful nap in it today. It's just like a blanket for one's body.
It's the blanket you can wear. It's also so large that it knocks over everything in your path.
Yeah, it should come with like a wide load sign on it.
We hear it's comfortable. Shout to Comfy. Thank you for sponsoring his birthday, which was on Friday, which is why we were off, and we were off all week for your little birthday trip.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, I had a fun little trip, Chris.
Well, thank you for returning.
Yes,
we appreciate it.
We made it back yesterday.
Yeah. And our community cause this week is Wild Landscapes International.
Yes, Wild Landscapes International partners with diverse stakeholders and communities to conserve large natural landscapes for both wildlife and people, Chris.
Wild Landscapes International works under the radar to put high priority conservation actions in front of decision makers across the globe. Go to wildlandscapes.org on the World Wide Web if you're watching us now on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Periscope, or maybe even MySpace if that still exists, hopefully in your top 8. Or you can go to Instagram at wildlandscapes_international. Thank you again to the Comfy, which I think emanates heat too.
It sure does. Radiates. It is hot. Actually, it is hot in here, Chris. Yeah. And it's a fireside chat. We're bugging out today, Chris.
We are. Ryan, we got a guest coming on who knows a little bit more than we do about everything. Yeah, yeah. Let's hurry this up, Ryan.
Hey, Amanda, how's it going?
Oh my gosh. Good. Thank you for having me.
Good to see you, Amanda Hips at Biophilly Amanda on the Instagram. For all of those watching who don't know that song, we didn't play the Circle of Life version. We played the Knots Igan Nawemwa. And if anyone can actually spell that without cheating, we'll send you a prize.
We'll give you a t-shirt.
Whatever you want. Amanda, we had just learned at the beginning of the show that our intern Ryan and Christopher Joseph here both wanted to be marine biologists.
Yes.
You're a biologist on land, though, is that right?
That's correct, yes.
Not
marine.
We were talking about it before it aired. Was that is it a requirement to be a marine biologist? Do you have to be able to swim?
I feel like that would be important. I think you're going to be probably on the water a lot. Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
But if
to
you're
take at least a couple swims.
yeah, that would probably fit within the description.
Interesting. And if you're going to be a conservationist, what do you need to be able to conserve?
I guess it depends on what you mean by that. There's so many different fields in wildlife conservation. So you can conserve marine life. You can conserve anything on land. People specialize in different things. You can conserve water. You can conserve landscapes, and so the list goes on.
It's quite a list there.
That's a long list. It's longer than this one.
Yeah.
What have you been working on recently?
So right now I work, as you mentioned, with WildLandscapes, and so we're basically just working to connect large landscapes and connect protected landscapes. So we're trying to create wildlife corridors and just make land permeable for wildlife so that they can kind of travel from one location to the other. So I don't get to specifically work now with wildlife. Previously, in grad school when I was studying, I was working with gopher tortoises, and now it's a little bit more hands off, but it feels a little bit more, to me, it feels impactful, I think. So I'm working with land, but I feel like I'm having an impact on just a wider range of animals. So.
Speaking of a range of animals, we recently heard you're in Yellowstone and working on an elk project. Do you think you can create a landscape for us to get to Yellowstone from here in LA?
Yeah, I think we can make that work.
That'd be wonderful.
Only if you wear
that. We're Quarantine the Chrises live with Amanda Hibbs at Amanda on Instagram. She's live in Florida. We're live in Los Angeles. Happy belated National Bison Day, actually, Amanda. We unfortunately missed that this weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
I did too. I had no idea.
You know what? Well, next time Ryan will have to tell all of us in advance.
Oh. Dang it. Yeah. Come on, Ryan.
But you had made a trip, as Chris just mentioned, to Yellowstone. What did you see, or what did you work on there?
What did I see? Is that what you said?
Combination of a little everything, yeah.
Sorry. I'm kind of in rural Florida, so sometimes my internet, if it's drizzling out, it kind of cuts out. But
the Sunshine State.
But it's drizzling today.
Drizzle State.
Yeah. The Drizzle State. Sometimes Drizzle State. Mostly sunshine.
Mostly sunshine. So in Yellowstone, oh my God, that was my first time going to Yellowstone. Have you been?
I haven't. I actually went over Labor Day. I don't know months anymore. You could tell me it's February, and I'd say sure.
Recently, yeah, sometime during before or after COVID is basically what I used to know. So yeah, we went to Yellowstone, and we're kind of just looking at migrations and thinking about how elk will migrate, and landscapes outside of Yellowstone that they might need to be using for the future. So this isn't really a project that we're currently working on, but it's something that we're kind of potentially trying to think about. And it was something that a biologist there studying elk migrations kind of tried to get us on board with, or is, just seeing how we can work together on something like that. So yeah, mostly it was just to look around, look at landscapes around Yellowstone and just outside of it. But more than anything, it was fun. More than anything, we were just driving around Yellowstone, looking at wildlife, and it was amazing. We saw a couple wolves, and there's one stand down with a wolf and an elk.
Oh wow!
Really?
Yeah, Yellowstone's amazing. Yeah, it was pretty incredible. I mean, it was like an event that like went on all day, but like we kind of drove by. And the wolves were so far away, so we didn't really get to see like very much of them. But people with scopes and stuff were there like the entire day, just like watching this elk like stalk or watching a wolf stalk an elk. So yeah, it was pretty crazy.
I believe here in the notes, wolves only got reintroduced to Yellowstone semi-recently. Is that right?
I think I don't think it's been like super recently, but yeah, it was. I think. Should I Google this? I feel like I should know.
Yeah, you're not.
Our live on air Google.
With the biologist Amanda Hips. Amanda, someone just said. Someone in Florida also said, "I saw a deer with a smiley face." A Frontier Jane said, "Good day from the outback in Australia," and then K-Max said, "Saturday, Biden Harris trumped it." There you go.
I love it.
Semi-recently, 1988 was, I guess, only just a short years ago.
Okay, yeah, so 95, early 90s.
There you go. Yeah.
We can just ask Amanda anything, I
guess.
Yeah,
the wolves were 90s baby.
Did you hear the news about Colorado?
No.
What happened? I was just
He was just there.
I was just in Colorado. What's the news?
So it was like a really tight vote, but everybody in Colorado voted to have wolves reintroduced into Colorado, and they've been extirpated for like 80 years.
Interesting.
So crazy.
That's awesome.
Hey, wolves! Big wolves fan.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, I lived in Colorado for 4 years, and so it's kind of, I'm just like, dang, I wish they would have done this when I was there. But I'm excited to maybe visit, and who knows? Like maybe they'll be.
Maybe they can hire you to help with the landscapes out there for the wolves.
I wish. Oh my gosh! Please, whoever's listening, please hire me.
What does that integration process look like for integrating wolves back into Colorado?
Good question. So not something I've ever been involved in, but I do wish I was. I don't know how the process works. I assume that they're breeding at a facility and then they're taking, probably a pack of, I don't know how many, but a small pack that are already together and probably already like a family unit that they're going to put, together out in Colorado. But I don't know. I don't really know how the process works. So
they don't just it's just a plane comes in, flies low, and just drops a bunch of wolves off and says, "Go have at them."
I don't know. I actually have no idea how they get them out there. I don't think it would be a plane, but I'm not sure. Who knows?
Maybe the stork drops them off.
This the stork.
I know. I feel like. I don't know. It's a really good question. I think we should like how they did it in the past in other areas, but I don't know. I'm excited for Colorado.
If we had the audio-visual capabilities, we would cut to a Yellowstone wolf, ask them a question about being reintroduced, and then come back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Next season.
Next season, yes.
For the next interview, yeah.
Someone said we all need to listen to the Lupinology Ologist episode again. I forgot the deets too.
The ologies episode? Oh yeah, Lupinology. Yeah. So, are you guys familiar with Ologies podcast?
Not familiar at all.
Not familiar.
Can you please tell us a little more?
Yeah. So she's a great podcaster and host, and she interviews different ologists, and so she had interviewed me for a first episode for testimoniology, and she just she's hilarious. And there's like just a wide range of different ologists that she interviews. So it's really interesting. It's fun.
I like that.
So that's where that came from.
She interviews all the ologists.
All the ologists.
All the ologists, yes.
All the ologists.
Oh, someone just said it's a crime that we haven't seen it.
No,
Oh my God, we gotta
arrest us, please.
Oh no.
Yeah, you should definitely get on it.
The most wonderful, I wouldn't know if it's a biology fact, but a fact about animals that I learned this weekend were that owls, like, I don't know if it's baby or just like child owls, child owls,
Chowls.
yeah, sleep face down because their heads are too heavy.
Really?
I don't know if that's true. So I did see like a photo where there was an owl face down. I don't know. That's really, I honestly have no idea, and now I just need to know all these random facts.
See, that's why they pay us the big bucks, Amanda, to find out all these hard hitting question ologists. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. Okay, you're right. This article did come out, and I feel like terrible that I should have read it, but I didn't. I do remember being the headline. And I have no idea. That is something I really did not know about, the owl sleep face down.
Well,
is that really true? Are we sure that's true? I
you
need
know
to do a fact check before I
as a biologist in training, I have my pin somewhere.
How did you become a biologist? What were your inspirations as a kid? Did you always want to be it when you grew up?
Oh, actually, I wanted to be a vet. I was like planning on going to vet school, and I kind of just like geared my entire life for that. Like I started volunteering for a vet when I was 10, and then I took the job with her when I turned 16, and I was there until I was 21. And then I like literally just took all of these courses to get into vet school. I even went as far as applying to vet school and like got in and got accepted, and then like decided I didn't want to go. And that was, I decided I didn't want to go because I learned about biologists. And yeah, so like towards the end of my like undergraduate pre-vet career, I started working with a biologist in the field. And sorry, my cat's gonna start. She does this every time I get on.
Oh. What's your cat's name? Luna?
She's like one of those pets that like you just kind of ended up with that you didn't want, and then it just like she's great, but she's not the best, and now she's gonna want to come in and out. Hey. So anyway, yeah, I started working with. I might have to get up in a second. But I started working with a biologist who studied reptiles. He was studying tortoises at the time. And so I just started going out in the field with him, and that's when I first started working with gopher tortoises. And then I was like, I love this. And as a vet, I'm going to be mostly working inside, and it's not, you can do conservation as a vet. It's like more like individual rather than like really like thinking about a species as a whole and like conserving a species. And so I wanted to do more like, helping a species and like preventing extinction. And so that's how I ended up just like completely changing my career path, which was like a total bummer for my family because I was like right there and they were super excited, and then I had to be like, sorry, I got accepted to vet school, but I don't want to go. And so then I kind of started over. So then I ended up getting my master's from there. I ended up getting into vet school. I actually into my master's into grad school. That took me a couple of years to get accepted, and then so I did my master's, and I did that in about 3 years, and then I got this job. So.
Right. Was it your first job working with gopher tortoises?
Oh.
Yeah. So basically, in grad school, I did this and worked with gopher tortoises there for a couple of years, for 2 years, and then I ended up working sort of in the vet field in between. That's when I moved to Colorado, and I worked for an exotic animal vet because I was like, okay, maybe I don't want to just like work with cats and dogs. I would want to work with reptiles that are zoo animals. Sorry, hold on.
That's fine. We're live with Amanda Hips and her cat Luna. Luna, do you have anything to say? Oh no, Luna left. Wow. Luna left. Just hey, wait, Amanda,
she has a lot to say.
Is that Luna right here?
What?
Is that Luna right here?
Oh my God, that's Luna.
Oh wow. Look at that trickery.
I see it. This is a fake background, right? It looks like way too pleasant and perfect.
I wish it was real. We're in Los Angeles where none of this really occurs right now. But I do wish it was real. It's an 8-hour loop. We could send it to anyone. Just DM us.
Or just search YouTube.
Yeah, or just search YouTube. But 8 hours.
So,
I love it.
so
I like it.
is Luna the only pet you have, or do you have any other animals that you are a mother to?
Yes, I am mother to a tortoise. He's his name is Banchi. I've had him since I was 10, I think around 10ish, and yeah, so he's 20s, and I don't know, but I told you is when I got him. But yeah, he's about 125 pounds, and
Wow.
yeah, he's got an 8 I recommend it. So like basically this is a tortoise that has like overwhelmed US rescues, and it's, you know, people like adopt them, they're cute and small, and like, and pet stores will often say like, hey, you can just keep it in a small cage and they're not going to grow any larger, and that's what the pet store owner told my parents, and so we're like, okay, great, let's just take it home, and then we find out like that's actually really inhumane, and so yeah, he's grown massively over, you know, the last decade or so, and so I was really close to trying to like rehome him. I really didn't think that I was gonna like have, you know, be able to afford a home and like have space for him, and he was just getting too big for his enclosure at my parents' house, and so I kind of just felt like, you know, I wanted better for him, but I was also just really torn because this is what happens really commonly. It's really common for people to adopt a sulcata and then realize that they don't have space for it, or they're really destructive and it's really difficult to take care of. So yeah, so luckily, you know, we ended up finding some property, and he's got an acre of land just to himself that's fenced in, and so his like behavior has completely changed. It's just amazing, like seeing just his change in behavior. Like previously at my parents' house, it was a much smaller enclosure, and he would be like very territorial. So like if you come into his enclosure, it's like it was kind of hard to tell if he was like excited to see you or what. But it was just weird because he would just try to like headbutt you. You know, he would like try to push you out of the way. And he doesn't do that now. Like he'll come over to us and he's still excited to see us, but he's not like pushing us. So he just kind of hangs out and wants some head scratches.
Interesting.
I think that's what we all need these days. I mean, all underscore A underscore L underscore T underscore. Apparently, nothing else is available. Said, and outlive everyone you know and love.
Oh wow.
Wait, what?
Said that Banchi the tortoise will outlive everyone you know and love.
Exactly. So like even if you have a space for them, like he's gonna outlive me. I'm not having kids. I don't know what to do. So maybe my nieces will take him. I don't know.
Maybe, but
it is definitely.
Well, the Amanda at BioPhilly Amanda on Instagram, the hottest romance according to People magazine.
Ooh, yes.
During the quarantine is actually Banchi and
his girlfriend.
His girlfriend. Could you talk about your tortoise's girlfriend?
Yes. So yeah. So basically, we got Banchi some bowling balls to play with. And it's like, you know, a toy that he'd push around and kind of get excited to see, and he would just be like, you know, chasing it. He'd like basically bump into it with a shell and try and push it as far as he could, and then he would just like chase after it and like keep doing it again. So it was just a really fun toy. It was so good to watch him play. And so I have videos of that too. And then it sort of turned into like he became sexually mature and has been using it now as more like a bowling ball. So
interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. Like it's really awkward, but
interesting.
He loved it, and yeah, he, you know. But what can I do? If he likes it, I'm not going to take it away from him.
Right. Let your freak flag fly, Banchi the tortoise. That's what we say here in the quarantine quarters.
Exactly.
So when the quarantine is over and he goes to the bowling alley, what does he bowl when he goes to the bowling alley?
What does he bowl?
Yeah, what's his score?
He's scoring a lot. That's all I know.
Yeah, I scored a lot for sure.
Oh, wow.
Amanda, a high flyer and former guest of the program, Sarah, said, my family had a tortoise named Sunny growing up. She ran away from home, no joke. I guess Sunny didn't come home. Like the song.
And I guess maybe the tortoise was faster than the hare.
Could be.
Who knows?
All the you hear about it in the news. I worked with gopher tortoises, and like they would show up in my field site. So sometimes, like I think people were actually letting them go because they just couldn't take care of them anymore, and so they were kind of just like put them into the wild and they'll survive, and they don't survive. But yeah, sometimes they do get out. I mean, Banchi's not cool too. Like he's escaped, and even like with our new move, he ended up like it was good because he came closer to the house. He escaped from like I thought he was completely secure, and I feel like they always figure something out. And he did. I don't know.
They're smarter than they look.
Yeah. So yeah, dumb as a brick, but also really smart at the same time.
So that's funny. Dumb as a brick, but also really smart at the same time.
When you want them to like get something, and you're just like, why can't you learn this? And then of course they like learn how to escape. So
yeah,
interesting.
It's basically just like our show. No difference.
Speaking of giving people something to talk about, you're giving your neighbors something to talk about by putting roofing and tin on your grass. What are you doing with that?
Yeah. So we basically like our whole yard right now like randomly has like these like large turps like thrown out in our yard on the grass, and like pieces of like metal roofing that were still here when we moved in. And so we're just grass smothering. So we're trying to kill the grass so that we can throw down native wildflower seeds.
Really?
But we can see like people just like driving by, and like they'll just like slow down and like be like looking. And I've had like people like stop and like sit there and stare at it like, what are they doing? Yeah, so it can be a little embarrassing, but it's really funny. Like definitely neighbors are talking about us for sure.
So if you're in the Gainesville, Florida area, and or anywhere in that area, and you see that you're trying to kill grass, unlike the rest of America, which is trying to grow beautiful, lush lawns, and there's definitely no dead bodies underneath what you're doing. It's not a big conspiracy cover-up.
I mean, at least not from us. Maybe from the previous owner.
previous owner. It makes sense. Frontier_Jane said a reptile habitat. Ooh, that's wonderful.
Oh yeah, so like those metal roofing things, like anything you lie down on the grass, like snakes love to like crawl under that, and so people are like, oh, like, what can you do? And so that's throw down like ground cover type stuff, and then I feel like it's called herping. So herpetology is the study of reptile amphibians, and so people who are really interested. And so doing that is by laying down ground cover and then waiting a couple months, weeks or months, and looking what snakes have affected, like right out there, claimed it as their home. So yeah.
Right on.
That's cool. We got a question here, Chris.
From a Tortuga. I think that means tortoise.
I think it's tortoise in Espanol.
Yes. What's the most surprising species you found on your property? I feel like you're finding something incredible every day.
Yeah, I feel really lucky. So we're surrounded. We are on 8.5 acres, and it's like a lot of a mixture of like kind of farmland and woods, and so it's been really great for a lot of different wildlife. And I've always grown up in like just urban. I've never really like lived out in like this rural kind of setting, and so never really had wildlife in my yard. It's always been you have bugs and cool stuff sometimes, and the occasional frog, or lizard, but other than that, like I didn't ever see much. So this has been like a super treat to me, and I think the coolest thing was something that we saw yesterday was a diamondback rattlesnake.
Ooh. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we have those around. Yeah. What else have we seen? We've seen cottonmouths. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, I mean, also rat snakes are around all the time. So I feel like that's almost become like just such a normal thing to see. It's just like rat snakes, which I never used to see them ever. Even when I was working out in the field with tortoises, like I rarely saw them. So it's pretty cool.
So if you come up upon a snake, like I had just a few weeks ago on a hike, and you're hiking with someone who may be watching right now, is it customary to jump on someone's back so that they can run past the snake so it doesn't hurt them? Is that a normal reaction?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
I guess, what is the normal reaction? What do you do when you cross a snake?
Okay, so I mean, I guess it depends on who you're talking to. Like, I completely understand like having a fear of snakes, but I also like it's also just not validated. Like, there's really no good reason to be afraid of them. So give them space. Like, especially if you know it's venomous. Either way, it's a wild animal. It's always an idea to like give a wild animal space, and so walk around it. Like they're not going to come after you. They're not going to you. If you don't tease it, if you're not poking at it, if you're not trying to kill it, then you're going to be fine. There's nothing to be worried about.
It makes sense. And Amanda at Bio.
You don't need to jump on your back.
Amanda at Biophila Amanda on Instagram. So, as a biologist, would you say that people are more dangerous than animals?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You're first.
Yeah. Without a doubt. I mean, I think people make stupid decisions too when it comes to wildlife, and that's kind of like what gets a lot of people hurt. And so, I think if you're just making wise decisions and there's really very, very limited chance of like getting hurt. And the other thing too that we have to think about is like, we have these like fears. Like, I'm terrified of cockroaches, and a cockroach is like never hurt me. Why am I afraid of them? When I first moved into this house, we have these Huntsman spiders, and they're like massive.
Ooh.
Like, and I remember like first moving in and like putting my clothes in the closet, and there was a huge Huntsman spider that just like popped out as I was like hanging up clothes, and I was terrified. Like, I'm a bug person, but that still like just really creeped me out. And then like going to the bathroom, there was one like inside of the toilet paper roll, and I pulled out the toilet paper and was like, I know, it was so crazy.
No.
But like they don't hurt people, and so I just had to like get familiar, and it's like I've been learning about them and like reading about them, and I was like, okay, that's good. I can like hang out, I think, because they're gonna get rid of our roaches. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's really like I just got used to them. Now I see them, and I saw one that was like dying the other day, and it was so sad. And I just like, it's like crazy how you like switch. Like, I was terrified to like now I just feel like concerned about them. And like, what can I do for this spider?
You know what? I feel inspired.
I don't know.
The daddy longlegs here are not so scary anymore.
No, like, yeah, I feel like it's just like once you like start reading about them and like learning about them, and like it's not gonna do anything. Like, now I just like vacuum around them. They're like huge, and they're just like a part of our house now.
It's like part of a part of the furniture. It's like, oh yeah, there's Charlotte.
I had one that was like above my office door for the longest time. She was like into, I think, the air conditioning vent was like where she would kind of like disappear. Come back above my door. So like every time I had to walk in and out, I was like, cool, like the spider could like fall on my head like any second. She never did. But it actually just became like more of like a comforting thing now. Like, she's here with me while I'm working. I don't know.
Just another pet.
It's a new friend. You should probably charge the spider rent.
I probably think that she would be charging us rent, probably hers, but
Oh,
yeah.
interesting. You should talk to her about getting that bathroom fixed then if you're living in her house.
That's so true. Yeah, that's really that. Yeah.
A wonderful comment here by Tirtoga. Knowledge is the best way to combat fear, which is why science communication is so important. Wow.
that's true. How yeah, definitely. I 100% agree.
Yeah, we should put that. We should, Ryan,
put that on a shirt.
Cross stitch that and put that on a pillow.
Oh, a pillow. Oh wow, we're adding pillows.
We're adding pillows. Shirts and pillows. No, Ryan, no. Put that down. You're not allowed to eat. Well, Amanda, you had been dealing with not only animals in Florida, but also in that other continent to the other side.
To the
How do you
east
go?
or west? I think it
east?
doesn't matter wherever you go. In Africa.
Africa. Oh.
Yes.
Did I? Oh, so I was in. Do you are talking about Madagascar?
Yeah. The animated movie or the actual.
Or Lion King.
No, the actual country.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the island. Yeah, I was in Madagascar. Is that what you meant?
Yeah.
You're lying. Is that because I didn't know that?
Ryan has Africa on the teleprompter here, and that's what I ran with. I was gonna go with Toto. I felt the rains down in Africa. Shout out to Dan the Turtle Man for saying spiders in the house just mean you're less likely to get flies.
Oh.
So yeah, so I was in Madagascar, but I did not study tortoises there, but I did study snakes in Madagascar.
Right on. And can you talk about the WildLandscapes International's work over in Kenya and working with the rhinos out there?
Yes, yeah. So one of the projects that we are working on, we're partnering with a organization called Ol Pejeta Conservancy, and so it's such a cool organization. If you don't know about them, you should definitely look at them up. They're on Instagram too at Ol Pejeta, and yeah, so they are working with. So there's 2 northern white rhinos left on the planet, and both of them are at Ol Pejeta. So right now they're working on trying to breed them, and they're both female. So it's a little bit complicated, but basically they were able to take and preserve the semen from like the males that have since passed, and trying to like impregnate the females. And so it's been a long, complicated process. And so kind of like the last hope for that species. But that's one thing that Ol Pejeta is working on. And they're also working on building like a rhino corridor for the black rhinos there. And so they're trying to like work with different private landowners in the region and other ranchers. A lot of them are ranching cattle. And so basically just trying to figure out how we can like coexist with them. So cattle ranching is not going to go away. These people, it's important food source for them. And so we're basically just like trying to give them like capacity, like give them just like fundraising and any like expertise that we can share with them, and kind of connecting them with like different cattle ranchers and things like that. So we have people working for us that are just experts in number one, fundraising and like getting private and public funding, and then also just sort of connecting people together. So like a lot of what we do is just like building trust and like trying to get everybody on the same page and have everyone work together. So it's not always and like build this like rhino corridor impacted by basically and like have everybody kind of on board with having rhinos on their land. And so yeah, it's like been a really interesting project and it's been a lot of fun.
Has there been any changes?
I'm definitely inspired.
That's awesome. Have there been any changes due to COVID-19? Are there more poachers? Is there wildlife getting the type of, I guess, protection that they need?
Yeah, so what's going on right now throughout all of Africa is that there's less tourism, and a lot of these conservancies are fully dependent on tourism revenue, and so they're not getting any of that revenue. And so like Ol Pejeta has, they're going to be losing millions, and so that's a lot of what we've done is like trying to like fundraise and basically help them like stay afloat. And so what the issue is, with these conservancies in Africa and like the conservancies that are trying to keep rhino, like basically like doing the rhino corridors and like having rhinos on their property or on their lands, they have rangers who are working, and so they are basically what happens is without this revenue, like basically they're going to have to let go of some of these rangers, and so that means that one, rhinos are are having limited protection, and without the tourists too, like traveling to these places, poachers are kind of able to like come in and just the rhinos have like less protection without tourists there in general. And so the other thing too is that a lot of these communities, they're impacted also by COVID, and so they're just trying to support themselves, and in some ways like they just end up turning to poaching just so that they can support their families. Sorry, I have like bugs in my face.
You need more spiders.
So yeah, so that's basically they're basically just turning into like they're just trying to support themselves. So like sometimes it's really not. It's really just a matter of like social justice and like supporting these communities and like making sure that they can like support their families. And so that's basically what we're trying to do is like keep these communities afloat so that they don't have to turn to poaching, and like also keep this organization afloat so that they can continue supporting their communities as well. So that's basically what we've been fundraising for. And it's worked. They've only had one, Ol Pejeta has only had one poaching incident since COVID started, which is pretty significant compared to a lot of like in South Africa, it's been a little bit harder in some of those communities. And so yeah, what we're doing is working so far, and it would be really, it would be like, it's hard to see like these other communities just taking a hit. Like I just kind of wish that we could just have the capacity to like work in all of Africa and but
I guess how do you select?
It's been good to like see it like actually working.
Right on. I guess how do you select? It's okay. It's raining, so it takes a little bit of time to get through those droplets.
Yeah.
How do you select which organizations you do work with?
So a lot of the times it's actually just people reaching out to us, and so as far as like how we got up with Ol Pejeta was my boss already knew. He already had those connections with the organization when he started Wild Landscapes, and so he already knew the director at Ol Pejeta, and so they were just like, hey, how can you help us with fundraising? That's how that started. So yeah, so that's basically like he basically got on board for this rhino corridor that we're working on, and everything else, we also kind of jump in if they need us for example, the northern white rhino insemination and things like that, then we'll help. But yeah, it's mostly people reaching out to us, and we just try to help them. So basically, we're partnering with people that need our help, and yeah. So sometimes we go out there and find it. We're like, hey, if you do need anything, we're here. But for the most part, it's just like us trying to help others with their conservation goals, like other communities. Like we're studying another one in Alaska right now. There's this indigenous community. This one hasn't really taken off yet. It's like the very beginnings of it, but we're basically they want to work on a wildlife corridor, and so yeah, so we're going to try to help them fundraise for that, and basically also get like other communities on board and try to like get everybody together, and yeah, everybody just it's a lot of like it's a long process, and most of that process is like trust building and trying to get everybody on the same page. It's like pretty complicated, but
yeah, that must be difficult, especially going into a community and with indigenous people, you're like on their turf, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, they're the ones reaching out to us, so they're generally it's not that hard. Like we're working with them, and so we want to help them. But if they need to work with, for example, ranchers, That's not an issue really in Alaska, but if for other private landowners and trying to get them on board, people, it can be complicated when there's just two very different groups that are involved. So, yeah. But so far, I mean, it hasn't been an issue. I mean, it's a lot of work, but we've always made it work. So it's been actually really fun. It's like a interesting and fun challenge to like get everybody on board and on the same page, and so yeah. That's like my favorite part of the job, which I never thought I would be doing, but I really enjoy like working with these communities and like just different types of people and like kind of just learning like what motivates people. Like everybody has sort of like this like different motivation for conservation, and so it's just kind of trying to figure out like what can I do to motivate you, So
yeah, how do you go about motivating people for conservation besides posting amazing photos for everyone to like?
Yeah.
Well, it depends on what you're talking about. Like social media is definitely one aspect, like just science communication, and that's like a whole nother area of what we do, but we don't really do that side of it. But as far as like getting communities involved, it's so much work. It's it's a lot of like community outreach. It's a lot of one-on-one meetings mostly. It's like really just like having meetings, building trust with this person, and trying to figure out what their concerns are and trying to work with their concerns, and how can we use this land, use your private land in a way that's going to benefit you and the wildlife. And so it's really just a lot of like just one-on-one discussions and like ensuring them that like we can continue, like this could work. So that's really it's a lot of one-on-one, a lot of it.
And Amanda, with all the great work that you're doing, you have a lot of fans here in the comments. A photo DWB says, Amanda's such a great science communicator. She's encouraged me to be a bird and nature watcher on my walks in Dallas. Big fan of her work.
Oh, thank you.
A Dan Patrick. Dan Patrick's watching.
Yes.
Said that Amanda and her team helps everyone.
We have another.
Hey.
We have another Dan the Turtle Man. Same name, probably different person. He did a report on irradiated tortoises working with the community. Is the most important thing. TSA does it well. Supplemental income to prevent poaching is number one. What is TSA? Is it like the security at the airport?
No. So TSA is Turtle Survival Alliance. So it's an organization that works with like turtles globally. So yeah, so it's a pretty cool organization.
Interesting. And is Splinter, does he head up that turtle organization as well?
Who?
Splinter.
Master Splinter?
Master Splinter, yes.
Turtles in a half shell.
Turtle Power, yes.
Turtle Power. Splinter?
Splinter is he oversees Michelangelo, Donatello, Leonardo, and
I forget the
Red.
Oh my gosh.
Raphael, yes.
That's him.
Speaking of leaders and leadership, you said that you're excited for the new administration coming in. Can you tell us why you're excited and what you're looking forward to, and if maybe you've had any role in helping with that?
What was the last part? Sorry.
Well, Ryan has said in the notes that you might have worked with the campaign to help with environmental regulations and laws that may be implemented in the future.
I'm sorry, like I'm not picking up what you're saying.
I'm going to translate for him because sometimes his questions aren't direct. Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. campaign, environmental, discuss.
Discuss. So, okay, Biden's campaign.
Yeah.
So huge 180, right? I mean, Trump had removed a lot of these regulations. He removed over 100. He removed us from the Paris Climate Agreement. Complete 180. Like, I mean, Biden's talking about getting us right back on as soon as he becomes president on the Paris Climate Agreement. I mean, just so many regulations were taken away, and it was like the last 4 years have been very scary as far as like environment and social justice go. I think it's been a complete disaster, and I think that now with the new administration, I don't think that we can just. I think we're gonna have to stay on them. I think that we're gonna have to, make sure that they're doing their job, but I think it's gonna be a lot easier now than it was before. So yeah, I complete 180 for sure.
There we go.
But also, I think we need to keep fighting. Yeah.
I guess
I don't know if I can tell you like details of. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead with your details.
Sorry.
We like details.
I don't know. I was just saying, I don't know if I can go into like details of specific.
Sworn to
If you
secrecy,
have
as
questions.
they say.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess-
Right. We signed you, but we all signed. Ryan had you sign the NDA before, right? Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. No one's really watching. It's fine.
I guess, like, what can we do individually to help?
So I think it's going to be really important to just learn about what's going on and stay involved. And so I think voting, we have these Georgia votes coming up. I'm not in Georgia, but I'm definitely going to try and be as involved as I can and try and get people pumped about voting, in Georgia. And so, yeah, I think just staying involved and getting people excited about these things, I think that's the number one thing that you can do.
There you go. Vote.
Talk about it.
Democracy at work.
Post it on social media. Talk to your friends. Talk to your family. Yeah. I think keeping it, on the forefront and making people just aware, and I think that's the number one thing that we can all be doing right now.
There you go. Wow. And Amanda, as we get closer to the end of the year somehow, I'm not really sure how that happened. 2020 just flew by. Is there anything you're excited to be working on towards the end of this year or into 2021?
Yeah. So we have this really exciting project coming up for work at Wild Landscapes. We're going to be working in the Everglades, and it's actually outside of the Everglades. It's kind of a portion of the Everglades, but it's not Everglades National Park. It's Big Cypress and the Florida Panther National Wildlife Refuge. So it's a really important part of just the Everglades, the watershed in Florida, and it's just this area of Florida where millions of Floridians are relying on this for water. And it's a location that's protected, whatever that means. But this is a national park. It's a national wildlife refuge. And you would think that means that it's protected, but it's still open for drilling. And so the mineral rights, the oil, is actually privately owned. And so they can come in and drill, colliers can come in and drill, and that's that. That could really destroy, not necessarily even just the park, but that region and the water. And that can, it's going to have an impact on our coastlines and things like that. So we are working to buy those mineral rights and give them to the park. So we're fundraising for that. And so, I think that's the one project that's going to take years, but I'm really excited for it. It's I just remember being, just even a couple years ago, even as a kid, I remember growing up in the Everglades, kind of we always went there for our family vacations. And I remember hearing about how it was in danger of being drilled for oil, and it was this big uproar in Florida pretty recently. And I was just like, how can people drill? And like, this is protected land. And so I didn't really understand any of it. So I've just been like learning so much with my current position. And now it's kind of exciting for me to be like, just sort of at this, like, on the front lines of like protecting this park and like, kind of pushing that forward and, preventing oil drilling permanently there. So I'm really excited. That's probably like, we've got a lot of really cool projects, but that's like one that I'm most excited about.
Right on.
Yeah.
Sounds exciting.
Well, we're excited for you.
Yeah.
Amanda Hibbs at BioPhillyAmanda on Instagram. I could speak for the both of us, but I say you're our favorite biologist we've ever had on the program.
Oh, yeah. True.
Am I your only biologist?
You know what? We're gonna have to check the records.
I think we have to get going, Chris.
Yeah, we gotta get going. It's we're 100 and we're 178 episodes deep. I don't know. We'll have to check the records, but possibly. But we'd like to thank you, Amanda, for joining Quarantine the Chrises today. We'll be supporting your work throughout the quarantine and beyond, and we hope to one day get to hang out with you, your tortoise, and all the wonderful wildlife that'll be in the backyard. Yeah. Maybe spiders.
Heck yeah. Hit me up if you're in Florida.
Will do.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much.
Sounds good.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
That was Amanda Hibbs at BioPhilly Amanda, which I keep mispronouncing. She does wonderful things in the world of biology and down there in Florida, Africa, Alaska, and beyond, which we even touch on. Check her bio out and help support our community cause as well, WildLandscapes International.
Yes, go support WildLandscapes International and all the great work they're doing up in Alaska and New Hampshire now, Chris.
New
They're
Hampshire.
working with some bears out there.
Oh, the Sunshine State.
Yes, the other Sunshine State.
Oh, great.
Yes.
We're Quarantine the Chrises. We do this every day that ends.
And why?
Does not start.
With S.
Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You look so cozy. So do you, Lounge Tony.
Thanks, Chris.
You know why he looks so cozy? Thanks to our sponsor, Chris. Who's that today?
Our sponsor today is Comfy. This little comfy onesie can be yours. Go online. Purchase it. Where'd you get it?
Amazon.com. As my hair looks incredible these days. It's growing back since we shaved it. But go to the blanket you can wear, the Comfy.
The Comfy, yes. Thanks for getting comfy with us today for this our first night shift, Chris.
It's our first night shift, the first time the lights have been turned out. Ryan apparently can't get the sun to work as daylight saving times, Halloween, and the election have all happened since we've been off the air.
Wow, that's a long time away, Chris.
It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without a dope beat to step two, wiggy wiggy. Tomorrow will be a special edition of the program with a artist, world-renowned.
We do have a world-renowned artist. Tune in to find out who it is. A question for you: as an elk or a moose, do you want to step with your front feet or your back feet? Back feet. All right.
Back.
Settled. We'll be back tomorrow.
You got a 9 to 5, so I'll take the night shift, and I'll never see you again if I can.
Ryan and the show, it starts.